Hey, everybody. It's Loretta Louvier, um, artist, life coach, art life coach. And I am just kind of blown away tonight because, first of all, I want to say that I think the nicest part of my week, this is one of the greatest parts of my week, just being on this Facebook Live. And the other really nicest part of my life, of my week, is coming home from my job at my co-op and sitting down and thinking about what I'm going to talk about now to you guys. So what happened to me tonight was that I just had a really restful time, and I started getting ready to write about, what I wasn't actually sure what I was going to write about. But I picked up an old journal that I had, and it was from 2015, and I found in the journal like a page and a half of the journal filled with all of this stuff about shame that I was feeling, and just it was like a list of all these things that I'm ashamed of, that I wrote down that I was ashamed of. And I got really down. I got really like, wow, what the heck is shame? And started just thinking about the depths of how shame has been a part of my life for my whole life. I mean, I don't think, maybe there are times really when I was really young. And there's been times that I haven't been completely ruled by shame, but so much of what has been ruling my life has been, hey, Melissa, mwah, so good to see you. So I'm talking about shame. Hi, Jeannie. Good to see you too, Jeannie. So anyway, I started thinking about, well, what is shame? And I love you. What is shame, and what is the opposite of shame? And I couldn't think of what the opposite of shame was. I'm like, shame is, what I was feeling was, shame is like the air that I breathe. Shame is like the water that a fish swims in for me in my life when I was reading all of this stuff. And I was like, I don't even know how to think about being without having shame. I can't really understand it. And so, I was writing about that. I'm going to entitle this "The Shock of Shame." But at any rate, I have some notes. I have like a whole couple of pages of notes, but I really, this is such a deep thing that was happening with me. And so I was writing it, and I was thinking, I was like, so what is the feeling that's happening with me with shame? And the feeling that's happening with me with shame is that there's a giant Loretta, a gigantic, 15, 20 foot tall Loretta that is pointing down at me all the time and like squishing me like a bug with shame about all of this stuff in my life. And I mean, there is stuff that I'm ashamed of, this stuff I felt guilty for and stuff, but this is like the first time that I really saw the power of shame over my life. And I wrote in that journal, I wrote, I have to have a shame-free zone. And I couldn't feel a shame-free zone. So anyway, I started writing this, and while I was writing it all and realizing the feeling of that power of myself crushing myself, I turned the page, and I wanna say, Melissa, you might, if you're still here, you'll like this, because the book that I'm writing in is this book that I got from somebody in my upline, Nicole, my Arbonne upline, a couple of years ago, and so this book is so, this little journal that Nicole gave me is so nice, and it has all of these quotes in it. So the page I'm writing on, I turn the page and I get this quote. What I had written first of all was that that I am ashamed of things that I don't even have the resources to accomplish. And that's one of the thoughts in my head. And I turned the page, and at the top of the page there's this quote, and the quote is, do what you can where you are with what you have. I'm like, whoa, do what I can where I am with what I have. And I realized then about the sense of not having resources, of like, I'm talking about when I was a kid, and when, like, I had sort of dyslexia, so I couldn't read well, and I missed chunks of areas in school because of like measles and chicken pox and stuff, and I wasn't good at math. I was good at people, but I wasn't good at school because I didn't have the resources. So at any rate, I'm feeling this downness about shame. Hey, Patrice, but what I got out of this quote, and the quote was Theodore Roosevelt, right? What I got out of that was, I have resources. There are things I have. And I was sitting here writing this, realizing that I honestly have never really taken a good look at my own resources, at my own inventory of who I am. I have done sort of inventories of something, but there was a depth of what was going on here with me about my resources and what I really have. Something like lit up for me. And I'm so excited, and I was so down, and it just took me turning a page, literally a page. The page went from there to here. It was like the next page had this quote on it. And so the statement is saying to me, I can do something right where I'm at with the things I have. Yay! This might seem so simple. This might seem almost like really simple, but it blew my mind, because I honestly haven't looked past the shame, through the shame, to the real resources of what I have, what Loretta has. Not what big Loretta up there, who's seeing me like a bug, is telling me I don't have, and all the things that I should be ashamed of. I'm like, goodbye, big Loretta. Hello, me. and so what I was writing about is that this is stuff on the core level of who I am, about taking a real inventory, and of like I said, what I actually have. I'm looking at myself, and I'm seeing so much more in myself than I ever saw before. But at any rate, the other thing that happened is I turned another page, right? And there was another quote at the top of the next page. And the quote at the top of the next page says, happiness resides not in possessions, which I know, and not in gold or money, which I know, but guess what? Happiness dwells in the soul, which I do know, I really know, but somehow tonight I really got it. And so I feel like I have just cracked open an egg, and guess who's in it? Me. So at any rate, oh yeah, thanks, Patrice. Patrice just said, I'm enough. I'm getting that now. I'm getting that when people say you are enough, that it really, really means that, because we do have our own resources. I have a built-in, toolkit that I got to open up. I'm laughing because these are things I have only heard about for my whole entire life, but somehow tonight the light went on, and I just I'm so ecstatic. And I know it sounds simple, but at any rate, yay, the light went on for me. So that is really the end of my story tonight. I'm gonna just write out some really nice things about me, and maybe like even why some of you guys like me so much, because I know you do, and I love you all the people that I see right here, and people that stop and listen, that actually listen to this. You guys know I just love you, and drop me a line, and I don't know, just say hi. But at any rate, find your own resources. And shame is such a rotten, crappy thing that I didn't even know I was like swimming through and breathing. And so, goodbye, shame. I mean, I don't even know what the actual thing was. It was just a light bulb that came on about, I guess, my own resources. So anyway, I'm wishing you finding all of your own resources, dumping shame like I dumped the monkey way back in one of my first episodes. And guess what? This is I think it's episode 45. So at any rate, thank you again so much for being here. I love you guys. Mwah. Have a wonderful holiday season that is, being kicked off right now. And I'll see you next week. I'm so happy. Bye, you guys. Mwah.